Hello everybody and welcome to round 1 of the RP series in Le Mans Ultimate. This race taking us to the Bahrain International Circuit. I am Huski and I will be here bringing you through the race today, and at this moment in time the qualification as well, where we are watching the 777 Aston Martin of Ericsson on his first lap out. This is going to be, I think, one of the races of all times. We have hypercars and we have GT3s, two classes of car sharing the same circuit at the same time. This will cause some really interesting racing, especially of a circuit such as Bahrain. There will also be, I think, some really interesting strategy choices when it comes to pit stops. Do the hypercars pit when they're coming up to traffic, if it coincides? How will traffic play a part, both for the hypercars trying to get past and the GT3s hoping that they, come across the hypercars at a time where it is a case of, I'm on a straight, he can just go round and not into a corner, where the GT3 may have an issue of, I'm going to lose some time here to the car behind me, which is not ideal in the slightest. I've also got the chat open and I will be reading it as the racing goes on, so if you have anything to say to me, talk away, is all I can say. Talk away to me. So yeah, it's gonna be, I think, a very, very interesting race, because we've got the first lap coming in for Ericsson. Let's just see how he goes. You know what, let's jump on board here with the Aston Martin. So you can see on the brakes, down the gear as he heads through one of the most tricky corners on the circuit. It is followed soon after, once again, by another tricky circuit as well. That time through sector 1 of 37.328 down the gear, and as well you're still going downhill as you're braking. These cars do have ABS, these cars do have traction control, so it is two things that help with the running in the GT3s. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this will be one of the first GT3 cars to set a time. We are running private qualification, so all the drivers are going around at the same time. However, there's only one on track, and a little bit loose there, you can see through the corner. As here we go, and once again, Martin Kovac sets his first time. We will get to the times in just a moment. It was round the final corner. Let's see the time he has. The time to beat is a 2:04. Not going to beat it by the look of it, but let's have a gander as he comes across the line. A 2:04.287. That is a time. Here we have one of the other hypercars. This is PM Renault driving a number 6 Porsche hypercar, currently on provisional pole for his class, and I think that's his lap done. Chasing him down is Paul Sterner, sorry, in a number 7 Toyota. Again, he's personal best sector 1. He's got 9 tenths to catch. He is provisional second at the moment, with just under 5 minutes left of the qualification itself. We'll see how he goes through. Just listen to the acceleration from trackside as well. You can hear just the engine in these cars. The hypercars themselves have electric propulsion as well. They're hybrid systems. Electric deployment through the lap as well. So that will be very interesting to see where and when the drivers decide to bring that into play off the start, possibly just to try and get a bit more speed up. Have a look across the line. It's a 146 to beat. He hasn't beaten it, but it's a 146.6, sorry. So that's only 3 tenths off. The next driver who has actually dethroned that time is Tobias Gesh in the Cadillac. His best time, 146.3. So there's 3 cars at the moment within the 46s. That's Moreno, Gesh, and Stenner. And then a few more cars sitting in the 47s and 48s. So definitely more time there to gain. And it actually looks like, yes, Tobias Gesh here is actually running himself at 1/10 up on Moreno's time thus far. So this will possibly be where the hypercar will actually dethrone the Porsche. The Cadillac might dethrone the Porsche this lap. We will keep an eye as he is coming into the final sector. We will get the split, the sector 2 time in just a moment. Almost 2.5 tenths the better of Pierre Moreno, so he has to just keep it close and safe, but not lose any time whatsoever, just to A, get the time, and B, to build himself a little bit of a cushion for the rest as well. So across the line, let's have a look what this is going to be. It's a 146.003. So not quite out of the 46s yet. Was a 10.5 down in the final sector. So it's only 2 tenths that he has in this moment. We will now jump to the class leader. The class provisional pole for the GT3s is Martin Kovacs in the number 81 Chevrolet Corvette. His best time, a 2:03.94 across the line he comes. Is an improvement. Not quite. It was a 2:04.49. Another driver who want to be taking that away from him is Thomas Jack. Has he done it? No, he hasn't. A 2:04.401. That is 6 thousandths of a second off of the time of Martin Kovacs here. And also moving up back into the hypercars as well. Stenner has taken P2 once again. Under a tenth between P1 and P2. A driver that will be very hungry to try his best to take that away. Will be Pierre Moreno. He will try his hardest to get it as people are bibbing down in the pit lane. So here are the times you can see 6 thousandths of a second between Jack and Kovacs. Under a tenth between Molling and Kovacs as well. And then also up in Hypercar, 146.003 to beat, 3 hundredths for Stenner, and then 2 tenths just over for Pierre Moreno as well. But we are currently running with Thomas Jack in the 44 Ford. A driver that we've seen quite a lot throughout RP series is Thomas Jack. We've seen the rivalries he's had in GT3 and previous iterations between himself and Kovacs, as well as Pierre Moreno as well. Sorry, I forgot how to speak English there for a moment. Along with Pierre Moreno moving up to contest the Hypercar Championship. Kovacs and Jack there. Thomas Jack moving out. It wouldn't have been enough for him. Someone else looking to move on to provisional pole overall and of the Hypercar class is Pierre Moreno. Let us see as he comes down. Is it going to be an improvement? A 10th up just over in the first sector. A personal best in sector 2. Let's have a look as across the line. Does Pierre Moreno do it? Yes, he does. A 1:45.969 for Pierre Moreno. He will be very happy with that. Someone else who will be looking to dethrone him is Paul Steiner. I'm going to mess it up so much. As he comes through the final corner. Personal best sector 1. 3/10 up in sector 2. Almost 4/10 up in sector 2. Across the line, where does the Toyota get put? The Toyota goes on to provisional pole with a 1:45.806. What a lap that was. And the final driver looking to take the time out of this lap is Thomas Eriksson. Will he do it? No, he's pulling over. That is his lap finished, and that is, I think, is qualifying over as well. As quickly looking back into the chat, Jay Gott saying hello. What's up? I'm sat here on Easter Sunday commentating a sim race between Hypercar and GT3. I could not think of anything better to be doing today. The drivers all look very, very close between themselves as well. So that will be something. Let us have a gander over at the session results. So here they are in Hypercar. In Hypercar, Paul Steiner takes P1 with a 1:45.8. Pierre Moreno second. And there are the results for that. Moving into GT3, Martin Kovacs on the best time with a 2:3.94. But as we are about to get underway, let us go through the starting order for today's race. So, lining up on pole position, Paul Steiner in the number 7, followed by Pierre Moreno in the Porsche. Very close between the two drivers. Row 2, Tobias Gesch and Daniel Scott, the number 2, and the 83 Cadillac and Ferrari. Row 3, Adam Gadek and Norbert Klenk, the 38 and the 20 BMW and Porsche. P7, Gianluca Petrello and Jose Flores in 7th and 8th. In 9th and 10th, Martin Kovacs and Thomas Jack. In 11th and 12th, we have Robin Molling and Mark McNaughton. Then in 13th and 14th, Adrian McNaughton and Oliver Newman. And in 15th and 16th, we have David Epitishvili and James Andrews. 17th, 18th, we have Tommy Teasdale and Vasilis Katarinakis. 19th and 20th, we have Thomas Eriksson and Fail Games. And then rounding off the grid in 23rd, we have Raffaele Sanseverino in the 92 Porsche. So that is your starting grid for today's race. If you want to see one more time the results for that overall, here they are with the times. As we are just waiting for the race to get underway. And moving on to GT3. Here are the first page results for GT3. Kovacs, Jack, Molling. The McNaughtons, Newman, Peter Shively, James Andrews, Tommy Teasdale and Vasilis. And Ericsson, Fail Games and Raffaele Sanseverino as well. So we are getting ready to start the race. 20 seconds until the rolling start gets underway. This will be an enthralling race, I am sure. The first lap likely to cause us some very, very interesting moments indeed. The lights flashing away. You can just see how far back the grid goes as well as we move away onto the formation. Toyota running in P1. will be leading the pace through the final corner. We are only doing a final corner race start this season. As we are about to go green. And we are green here for the first round. It looks like Stenner is going to hold it well, but there is movement in the back. The car's in around the final end of this field. Pierre Moreno will have the inside, but then it switches back to Stenner as well. Who's going to hold it here? They are really just neck and neck together. Pierre Moreno going for the inside. Is he going to make it round? Going a bit deep. Maybe some contact. And Stenner just tried to cut back, but it looks like the Porsche of Pierre Moreno has done it. Wow, that was an amazing start there for Pierre Moreno. P2 in qualifying and makes his intentions for the race very, very well known. As further back as well, you can see Norbert Klenk trying to catch up to Daniel Scott. Down the gears we go. It looks like the number 7's a little bit tight. Have a look here, shall we? And you can just see how tight it is, but back up a bit more. Gianluca Pertello going down the inside of Adam Gadek. It looks like he's made it. It does indeed. He has made it past the 38 Porsche. Wow, that was very, very good racecraft there from Pertrillo. He saw the opportunity to take it and he took it. So, with a 1 hour race, it looks like he went a little bit deep there. That might open out the field for the 38 behind her. It looks like he's going to have to speed off the corner down the straight, so that will help him out quite a good bit as snaking our way around. Here we go. Let us go and have a look down here, shall we? This is Thomas Jack on Martin Kovacs, as we are going to grab the fields up as well. Looks like the GT3s are just going to play a little bit safe over the first few laps, which isn't a bad thing at all. Oh, but Thomas Jack closing up quite a lot under braking, in fact. So let's keep with these guys for a little bit longer. Let's have a look at what happens. You can already see the hypercars careering off into the background. And that just tells you the speed difference between the two cars. Not that it's a bad thing. It just shows you how different the speed is between the hypercars and the GT3s. It won't be long until the hypercars are sniffing the rear end of the GT3 field. As really, yeah, it looks like everyone's just trying to play a little bit close to their chest at the moment. But let us jump up here to a battle. It's Tobias Gesch versus Adam Gadek. Gadek ahead in the 38 Hertz branded Porsche. Gadek in the blue Cadillac behind. Looks like Gadek's trying to go defensive down the inside, block off any move there, but the Peugeot, as these two fight, the Peugeot in the background, which is being piloted by Jose Flores, he'll be looking at this and going, oh yes, I quite enjoy this, as look at that already, trying to make the nose of that Peugeot known. Down the inside, maybe a bit explorative, trying to go, can I? Possibly. Looks like he has lost a chunk of time through the very wide open downhill somewhat chicane. The gap is currently sitting at about 4/10, so that is pretty good. We'll check back in later as we see Fail Games chasing down the rear end of Rafael Sanseverino. This is for P19 overall. Currently the gap sitting at about 3/10 between the two cars. Be there, Fail Games for the 59 United Autosport car. We've got 3 of them running today. Looks like these guys are just gonna let their battle rumble on for a bit more. So we'll jump back to this one. It is Gesh on Gadek as we jump on board. You can just see the draft there. How close is it gonna be down the inside? Gadek trying to defend once again. Overlap through this section of the circuit is brutal. As we saw off of the race start between Moreno and Stenner, you go left, right, left. Sorry, right, left, right. Which does actually give you, if you're on the inside, it gives you inside, outside, inside, which is what PM Moreno used for his advantage. As actually looking up on the timing tower, looks like Stenner has retaken PM Moreno's. Oh, big off circuit there for Gadek. That wasn't ideal. It looked like he just got the car a bit too much on the curb and it sucked him in. Doesn't look as if he's lost or gained all that much. These 3 very close together. This is for P6 overall. So this is 6th, 7th and 8th fighting against each other for that position. And once again, we will... No, we won't. We will stay with these guys. And just see as they're accordioning. Just in, then out. Now, let's see. Once again, we saw this the last lap, where Gadek had the inside, but it looks like this time possibly Gesh is going to try to use the power, but no, once again Gadek slipping to the inside. He's tried this before. What way round is he going to go? Inside, outside? No, it just doesn't look like he's going to have the muscle to get past there. He is trying to make that move work on the corner. So we will jump up once again. This is the move that happened just on. This is Clenk on Gianluca Petrillo, the number 20 for Clenk and the 83 for Gianluca. And they are fighting very close. Gianluca took that position at the first corner. And Clenk there will be trying to hunt down the time. He had held Petrillo off for a couple of laps, but it looks like he just managed to get his way past. Let's see here as we are going to jump further back. Might Gesh do it this time round? He was looking out and about, but he just didn't really feel that opportunity, I don't think. The Peugeot behind Jose Flores will be looking very, very intently at this fight, going, yes, fight together. That way I can make you slow down and I can help myself. As already going defensive is Adam Gadek. Look, 1v1 battle, Gadek versus Gesh. The gap a 10th here between the two, and you can see it's going down. Gesh is going to try the inside this time about. Is he going to get the car alongside though? No, he's not. Slots back in once again. Gadek was going very, very defensive a lot earlier on than he was before. And now, looks like that isn't going to pay off. If we look at the last lap times as well, last lap times, Gadek was 4 thousandths faster off of the best. Gesh was 9 thousandths faster. That tells you just how much there is in it between the two drivers. You really couldn't write this, as now we'll go further up. There is lap traffic. Pierre Moreno on Paolo Stenner. Have a look, that car very, very close to the rear end. The Porsche chasing down the Toyota. Pierre Moreno just trying to be a presence in the mirrors there. Let's have a look. What is going to be the last lap time between the two? Who is it for? Across the line, it looks like Pierre Moreno set the faster time. Another Porsche there. That's Raffaele Sansevero. And again, they came up to him in a very, very good time. But Pierre Moreno looks a lot quicker through the first section of corners. Is this going to be where Pierre Moreno makes the move again? He's going to have the outside line, so it's going to be a lot of struggle to get the power down. No, not quite. Not quite this time round at all. We are on board with Pierre Moreno, who goes down the inside. Has he made that work? Has he got the overlap? He has. What a move there for Pierre Moreno. Down the inside, but Stenner is looking. This is going to be tight, as there, I think, is Fail Games just hanging about, having his drive there, while the hypercars are just coming. And this is why multi-class racing is so good. It's taken about 12 minutes for the hypercars to catch up. We're going for an hour, so 4 times round it should be. Depending on pace and pit stops. But it looks like Pierre Moreno is going to have his time sailing away. Now, this is something that has occurred. Tobias Gesh has got ahead of Gadek, where there is lap traffic as well. Have a look, the Porsche there also looking. We are on the bumper, side by side. Now, which car has the grunt in a straight line? Is it Peugeot? Is it Porsche? Let's have a look down the inside. He's trying for 2. There is contact between all of them. There's more contact. One of the GT3s, I think, got a little bit caught up in that. Tommy Teasdale will take advantage and move ahead as well. Gadek, on the other hand, has dropped down a position. He's dropped down. Jose Flores moves up into 7th overall. That was a little bit of a melee between the drivers. That is not going to be what he would have wanted. As further down we jump, this is James Andrews and Raffaele Sanseverino. Porsche on Porsche. Raffaele in the white Porsche ahead. James in the orange and black, the Bend Porsche behind. Their gap is just under 2 tenths on the straight as well with the slipstream. James Andrews looks to the inside, and remember, when you're slipstreaming, once you pull out, you get hit with that wall of air coming with you. And here are the positions gained and lost overall. So Moreno moves up a position. Daniel Scott up 1. Our highest climber thus far is Fail Games up 5 positions. So that will be very, very good for him. And battery remaining as well. You can see just how much the hypercar drivers are using. 33% for Pierre Moreno. As also on your screen just now, James Andrews looking down the inside. Is he going to get that Porsche slowed down enough? Yes, he is. Just a bit later on the brake. So that is James Andrews moved up into P17. He will be very, very happy with that. As further up once again, we look at Jose Flores getting chased down by Adam Gadek. Now, Gadek, Flores and Gesh have given us some great racing thus far. They have been all going at each other, hammer and tong, under normal circumstances. And as well, the lap traffic has really helped Tobias Gesh here as well, who's moved up at 2.4-ish seconds on Flores. So that will be something he shall be very happy about, building that gap, and it is still building as well. Up to 3 tenths now between the two. But also something else I didn't notice at the time, Thomas Jack has overtaken Martin Kovacs and is also building his gap up as well. Here we are on the rear wing of, sorry, not rear wing, the rear bumper of the Peugeot. Let's see how much that Porsche closes up. You see the headlights getting closer and closer and closer. We'll see as Fail Games, the first GT3 to box in as well. So it's Fail Games in the pits. So that will be maybe an attempt at an undercut. We are believing from the estimates this is a 2-stop race. There's one of the GT3s. A little bit of wheel tapping there between Gadek and the GT3 car behind as well. It doesn't look like it's caused any damage. Maybe just a little scuff, but you know, free paint. That's what I'd say, free paint on the Kia. We are all looking very, very easy now. Very, very close as well. But we are, I think, coming up to the pit lane. Sorry, not the pit lane, the pit in time, as we have Thomas Eriksson on Raffaelli as well. Thomas is going to try the inside. The Porsche taking a wider sweeping line to close that door. Eriksson deciding against sticking the nose in fully. So that will be a very, very interesting time indeed. But that Aston Martin will have the slipstream down the straight again. Raffaelli moving over to defend the inside. Eriksson's going to be forced a long way around. But here's a question. Eriksson sweeps around the outside and makes the move stick. So that is Thomas Eriksson up to P9 in class. So P9 in the GT3s. Very happy with that. It's now just a case of build up that gap. Build it high and keep it high. Looks like it's actually a bit slower through the first corner Possibly, maybe not. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Yeah, still looks like that gap is building. It's up to a second now between the two drivers. So I think we can say that Ericsson is rather safe at this moment. As we hit the 40 minutes remaining mark. So let us have a check-in, shall we, on who is where. So, leading the hypercar class, there we go, at the moment is Pierre Moreno, followed by Paul Stenner, Daniel Scott, Gianluca Petrillo, Norbert Klink, Tobias Gesch, Jose Flores and Adam Gadek. And in GT3, currently leading that is Thomas Jack on lap 9, Martin Kovacs in second, Robin Molling in third, Oliver Newman fourth, Mark McNaughton fifth, Vasilis Katarinakis in sixth, Tommy Teasdale seventh, James Andrews eighth, Thomas Ericsson ninth, 10th, Rafael Sanseverino 11th, Adrian McNaughton, 12th, Fail Games, and 13th, David Epitishvili, rounding out in 13th for that one. And yeah, it looks like Ericsson is really building that gap up now. It's moved to 3.5 seconds between the two, so he will be very, very happy, I think, in the knowledge that he will have a slightly safer pit stop, as on the back here with Daniel Scott. You can see behind Gianluca Petrillo chasing down the rear end. There too is Norbert Klink in the background as well. He's going to want them to start fighting, I think. Look at the energy and you can see, the hypercar's using it up. So this will be a case of maybe a time there for the hypercars that have managed to conserve a bit more to start using it up to catch up. I mean, Daniel Scott with 11%, same with Petrillo, Klink as well. Gesch having the most out of everybody at 14, with Flores and Gadek at 12 and 15% respectively. So that, I think, would be very, very good for them, as on the wing, on the roof of the Ferrari we are with Gianluca Petrillo. See, he is just trying to chase Daniel Scott down. Half a second thereabouts separating the two cars. So the question will be, because now the two leaders have come into the pits, are these two going to box in as well? Have a look. Daniel Scott opting against it. Same with Gianluca Petrillo as well. Stenner and Moreno have both boxed in the hypercar. You can see they're also just coming up to a couple of GT3s ahead too. There was just a yellow flag behind. So possibly someone's had a little bit of a moment. Gadek as well, you can see just appearing. Sorry, not Gadek, Gesch, just appearing in the background for a brief moment. So currently, as it stands, Daniel Scott leads the race on the road. As out the pits comes Paul Stenner and Pierre Moreno. Exited as they entered. Moreno in front, Stenner behind. So the question will be, who will gap quicker, and it looks like Stenner's going to have a little bit of a hold up between a couple of GT3 cars as he takes off circuit for just a moment to get round the McLaren. Jose Flores also hitting the box as well. Have a look, not the most ideal of places to come across a GT3 there. Does manage just about to get past, and we're seeing more and more pit stops come in for the GT3s. Newman, Katarinakis and McNaughton. Same with Thomas Jack as well. Robin Mullings staying out. Same with James Andrews. So this will be the time of who will blink first, with 34 minutes left in the race as well. So maybe, possibly, we could see some drivers take a short stint here and then a long one next off. That is definitely a possibility. I couldn't say for certain, as Daniel Scott, Gianluca Petrillo, Gesh and Klenk also all coming in, so a lap over, so that should reset the field back to how we saw it just as they came in. Definitely a possibility. Thomas Jack and James Andrews also out. Sorry, Thomas Jack, Newman and the McNaughton that pitted also out as well. Ericsson, Sanseverino coming in, so we are seeing the first pit stops come about with 33 minutes left in the race. Very interesting on how they've gone this distance, almost halfway thus far. So the question will be, on will they ride the cars out to the end? I'm not sure. As you can see there, Pierre Moreno up ahead, coming across to Thomas Jack. This is going to be exactly what Stenner would have wanted there. Pierre Moreno to come across Thomas Jack in not the most opportune of places, but to get past. Down a straight bit of road. 5 tenths just over is the gap. 6 tenths just under, sorry, I should have said. Yeah, all the final drivers taking their first stops. So 32 minutes remaining. We are pretty much at the halfway point. Pierre Moreno still leads Hyperclass, followed by Stenner and then Daniel Scott a bit further back. In GT3, Kovacs is now currently leading that class, followed by Newman and McNaughton. Which McNaughton is it? Adrian McNaughton, sorry. Molling, Newman, Kovacs, Molling and Newman. Adrian McNaughton in 4th and Mark McNaughton in 5th. We shall see. Stenner is just trying, I think, to find the extras. There's a DNF for Thomas Jack. Thomas Jack has retired from the race. I wonder what's happened there to Thomas. Why is he retired? He was leading his class earlier on, and now he's returned to the pit lane with a retirement. That is not what he would have wanted for the first point scoring round out, as we have to jump further up now as we see Daniel Scott on Gianluca Petrillo. And they get the inside. It's Daniel Scott by the look of it. It is indeed Daniel Scott holding the inside there to keep Petrillo at bay. Just attempting to build that gap as much as he possibly can. Thomas Jack got a 100-second stop and go, which has ended his race today. That is not what you would have wanted to see, as now further up the grid, we see Stenner, trying to find his way past the Porsche of Pierre Moreno. We are just trying to get the camera angle that we want. You can just hear how hard Pierre Moreno is pushing that Porsche to get it. I am build that gap. You can just hear it. Just how hard he's pushing that guy. You can see behind as well how hard Stenner is pushing too. Pierre Moreno, I think, might be starting to look in his mirrors just a little bit. It's definitely a very tense fight up the front. I think that's Robin Mulling just up ahead that they're about to come across as well, possibly. It is. I can't quite tell for certain from this angle that I can see. Pierre Moreno got the inside, and it looked as well like Stenner did too. So here will be the question of, will this move on the GT3s be opportune as well for both of them? Stenner getting the inside, but Pierre Moreno getting past before having to take a tighter line through the corner. That is going to help him out. Yep, it looks like Pierre Moreno has come out the better of the GT3 draw here. Now that gap sits at 1.5 seconds between the two drivers. And we are going to jump back because now Tobias Gesh has caught up just about to the pack of Daniel Scott, Gianluca Petrillo and himself. 5 tenths between the two. Petrillo gets down the inside, the door stays open. Stays open for him. There's Adam Gadek hitting the pit lane. Possibly this might just be for a quick top up and go. That might actually be how he's seen the strategy, is a top up and go, as it looks like there might have been contact up ahead between the 46 BMW of Newman and the 83 of Petrillo. A bit of a flash there from the BMW, a bit of a flash of anger, but Petrillo fighting to get himself onto the back of Daniel Scott. Daniel Scott currently running in third. He's got a 31-second gap to the cars ahead, so really his focus at the moment, I think, and for the rest of the race, is on those cars behind, to keep them behind, to retain third position for the hypercars. You'll see as we are now well and truly into the final half of this race. Once again, down the straight we go, trying to grab as much of that slipstream as possible from the GT3, and then switch it for the slipstream of the hypercar. Gadek following suit as well. Sorry, Gesh following suit as well behind. This is going to be, I think, where the fight is between these three drivers. They will get together very, very, very soon, I feel. 4 tenths-ish at corner entry between Petrillo and Scott, and about the same between Gesh and Petrillo as well, and that gap is tightening more and more as they come down. Oh, down we go. A little bit of a tap there on the back of Daniel Scott. Looks like there wasn't anything more to it than that. Looked like a little bit of snaking due to a GT3 car. But Petrillo very much making his intentions known. And Gesh, as I said earlier, with the battle between him, Gallic and Flores, it will be a case of fight each other. Slow each other up a little bit so I can get in on this as well. And that is, I think, roughly what the plan is for the number 2 car behind. Battle. This is Daniel Scott on Petrillo. Let's have a look at the last lap times as they come across the line again. Who is in a better situation? Across the line, last lap time not recorded, but best lap time. It looks like Petrillo has the edge there by 3/10. But that is definitely what you would have wanted. There's a Ferrari there. Just mind his own business. Keep in mind the blue flag rule isn't like other series where it's dive out the way at all costs. It is hold your line, stay consistent. If the quicker car's quicker, they will get past. And in this case, they have indeed. But it looks like Tobias Gesh has actually lost out a decent chunk of time there with a lapped car, possibly having had to make that move into the corner as opposed to down the straight like the 2 cars that before him were able to do. Once again we go. There is, I think, Kovacs there just scooting himself out the way to not influence this fight at all. Just under 3/10 between the 2 Ferraris. Daniel Scott still holding that podium position, but I think it is actually going to end up being tight with these 2. As keep in mind, we are expecting a 2-stopper here today, so they will have one more scheduled stop to do if things go well. But it looks like Petrillo got a little bit loose there on the exit, going far inside to cover off Tobias Gesh. Now, this will be the moment. Hard on the brakes. He's going for it. Door-to-door contact between the 2 Ferraris. He lets up and Tobias Gesh gets through as well. That may have just been a bit late on the brakes. But now that means that Tobias Gesh will be the one chasing down the back of Daniel Scott while also defending for Petrillo behind. We have got a sandwich made entirely out of Ferrari bread and Cadillac insides. This is a 3-car battle for P3 overall and P3 in the Hypercar class as well. This is, I think, going to be very, very tasty. Daniel Scott is going to just be driving with absolute conviction. Here, as you can just see how close we are going to be getting. Now, down the straight. What is the acceleration on that Cadillac like? What are the brakes like? Daniel Scott going to the inside to cover it off. Tobias there just sticking to his line, not trying anything drastic from 4/10 back. That's what we love to see. Keep a level head, keep it close, and the move will most times come to you. You might just get the one opportunity, but it will come eventually. With just enough waiting as Thomas Eriksson there, not at all in the right place at the right time for Tobias Gesh. This is going to open up Petrillo again, who just sticks behind for now, but that has helped to close that gap up absolutely beautifully for the two drivers. Wow, we are seeing some amazing racing from these groups today. There's someone else hot into the pit lane, Adrian McNaughton. Is that for it scheduled, or is that possibly due to a little bit of a tangle? We're not 100% sure at this time. Moving further up, Stenner is still chasing down the back of Pierre Moreno, but he has managed to stay within a second of the Porsche since their pit stop. 18 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. So if this is a two-stopper, we will very, very soon, I feel, be seeing the hypercars come in for their pit stop. It's a hard choice of what do you do, especially at the moment while they've got clean air. Ahead of them is, do you just keep going until the last moment or not? And that's where it gets difficult. He is getting closer by the looks of it. 5/10 now. But what we are going to do is we are going to actually jump back to this fight. Daniel Scott, Tobias Gesh, and Gianluca Petrillo. This is the fight that has just refused to keep going as Daniel Scott a bit deep. This is going to open up for Gesh, but Daniel Scott will get the inside. Gesh there, possibly though using sweeping line on the outside. Petrillo having a look. Maybe a little bit of bumpy over the curbs there. I'm not sure where the track limit sits. Between the lines and the curb, what is included and at what corners, that is always a point of contention. Gesh is fighting his way to Daniel Scott. Daniel Scott is fighting his way to try and build that gap. Petrillo is fighting his way to get himself there. Here are the energy amounts as Petrillo down the inside of Gesh. Who is going to come out in the lead of this one? It looks like it's going to be Gianluca Petrillo. Gets himself down the inside of Tobias Gesh there at the first corner. You could almost really make the case, if you didn't know the positions, you would think that these three were fighting for the race win here. They are absolutely going hammer and sickle between themselves. Hammer and tong, sorry, not hammer and sickle. What am I talking about? Now Daniel Scott will be able to face a fresh onslaught from Gianluca Petrillo, who's just got himself past Tobias Gesh. I'm still looking to see if any of these cars are going to be boxing in, because really it's getting late on into the race. Just over 15 minutes left, and everyone was saying, this will be a two-stopper, this will be a two-stopper. And I am inclined to believe them that, yes, this will indeed be a two-stopper. The question, I think, will be on when will this second stop come in, as there is one of the Fords there coming across at actually quite an opportune moment for everybody. Not going to make a lot of gain or loss there, but anybody concerned, and you can just see as well how much Gianluca Petrillo closes up under braking, but it looks like he might be braking a bit too hard into the corner because everyone else seems to then gap him a little bit under acceleration. But that is definitely going to be a rather interesting one indeed. Tobias Gesh dropping back a little bit as well, maybe just to try and conserve some tyres. We might end up seeing pit stops as a splash and dash, as a couple of the GT3 cars have boxed in already. This one up being Fail Games has boxed in, but we'll see what the hypercars do. 13 minutes just over remaining. I think for the drivers, they're all going to be sat there counting down the minutes. Especially Daniel Scott. He is under an absolutely ruthless amount of pressure at this moment in time, I do think. He is just pushing and pushing, and that might end up causing an issue of burning the tyres out, putting a bit too much wear into them, using a bit too much energy, possibly. Whereas if the cars behind can conserve and just use the slipstream instead, they may be able to then have the energy advantage. As on the brakes again, there is Raffaele Sanseverino behind. Is Tobias Gesh gonna happily get past? Yes, he is, but again, it looks like that's cost him some time. As once more, having a look, it's Gianluca Petrillo, Ferrari on Ferrari. They're leaning on each other a little bit, but Daniel Scott still holding that position. As we do have to quickly jump up back to the lead of the race. Last time I looked, Stenner was about 1.2 seconds behind Pierre Moreno. Now it looks like they're both boxing in at the same time as well. So this, I think, will be the pit lap for the hypercars. With 12 minutes left, Gianluca is still just looking for any opportunity to squeeze his car past. And it's just not coming at the minute. This might be it, though. The McLaren there, 3 wide, very tight on each other. Tobias Gesh is going to look down the inside. There's contact. Tobias Gesh has gone round. He looked for the inside there, and I think there was just a little bit of a tap on the front end of Tobias Gesh. That is not what he would have wanted in the slightest. He was there as also getting out ahead of Pierre Moreno is Paul Stenner. He has actually got himself out ahead. He came in behind Pierre Moreno, and now Pierre Moreno is in P2 on the road to a pit stop left and back behind. Gianluca is still fighting to try and get his way past Daniel Scott. I cannot believe just how long these two have been fighting like this, and they are soon going to have Pierre Moreno join the mix as well. And they still, if the two-stop is the strategy that they're going for, have another pit stop to contend with too. But this means that Pavel Stenner is in the lead of the race with 10 minutes left. If there is going to be a second stop for these two, it is going to be a very, very quick splash and dash, I think. We'll see those as they come down. Pierre Moreno there in the background as well. Is it going to be a box for them? No, it's not. They're staying out for another lap. Have these two, have the other hypercars clicked on to how to make a one-stopper work? As in the background, there's a GT3 coming in as well. Quite see who that is at the moment, but now Pierre Moreno is going to try and get his way past Mark McNaughton and Oliver Newman coming in for the GT3s. Pierre Moreno, he is looking for his way round, but this is for position, and we've seen how hard Petrillo will defend a position, and this is for P3. So if these two are both on a one stop, that would be very interesting. But we're also seeing the likes of Norbert Klenk and Jose Flores coming into the pit lane as well. I cannot see this being a one stop for these two. I just can't. As bit of contact there. Petrillo getting loose. It looks like they just closed up. He held the car, but that might end up helping out Daniel Scott. Yeah, Moreno looks like he holds position behind just to not gain or lose anything himself. They are still together. That will give Daniel Scott a bit of breathing room. Almost 3 seconds of breathing room, in fact. As Pierre Moreno is very much looking racy. Petrillo going to the inside early to make his intentions known. Will Pierre Moreno try to cut back? No, he won't, because the Ferrari's been placed right there, who is coming into the pit lane. So these two are indeed making a stop. And how much will that close them up? And can Pierre Moreno crack in what is essentially, I think, 9.2-ish seconds of gap in that time? We have got 7 minutes just over remaining of today's race. 7 minutes as out the pits comes Petrillo. It looks like he's going to jump Daniel Scott. Yes, it is. And yes, has he? No, they are going to be side by side down the pit lane. These two. This is going to be interesting because they will be side by side. Petrillo dropping back a bit to go outside. Daniel Scott staying very tight to the inside. But it looks like the fight is back on. These two left pretty much window to window. They could have just had a handshake really through the car windows with how close they had left together. Just like a hello, how do you do? So this fight is back on between the two drivers who have more or less been fighting each other. Flag 2 now, and if it goes the way that I think it's going to do, if history predicts the future, they will also be fighting flag 2 flag. This has been a 1 hour long race, 2 pit stops in it. So the question will be, who is going to come out ahead of this? Pierre Moreno has 7.5 seconds to make up in 5.5 minutes to take the race win here today. That is a very tall order, and one that I don't think will happen without some form of divine intervention, but these two, they are so close together. In fact, you can just see that gap come down because of the slipstream. There is going to be a GT3 right there as well. Very much side-to-side contact. Bang, bang, bang. GT3, the Ferrari, wrong place, wrong time, I so think. He gives a bit of a flashy flash. Not sure if that's a flash of anger or a flash of, yep, you're clear of me now. But it's still Daniel Scott in the Ferrari ahead, followed by Gianluca Petrillo behind. The gap is getting very close indeed, as Petrillo trying the inside. They are gonna now be door to door. Really, Daniel Scott might get the better power delivery though, from taking a wider line through. He does indeed. You can just see how hard these guys are fighting. They are going at each other for the final step of the podium in today's race. Gianluca once again, the inside is calling to him. Who is going to come out on top here? Daniel Scott will get the inside. A little bit of side to side once again. They are very much telling each other, I am here. Now let's see. Daniel Scott will have the outside, I think, because Petrillo's on the inside. He is indeed. Will Petrillo make the move that he's been trying so hard for work? No, he goes a little bit deep out of the exit and has to scurry back on. Daniel Scott still makes that cutback work with a little bit of help from the off track. Daniel Scott still retains P3 overall. This is exactly what racing we love to see. Two drivers having been nose to tail throughout the majority of this race. Gianluca is now just throwing the kitchen sink as they're side to side, and Gianluca goes round. He had absolutely tried. I got so hyped up about that I put myself into a coughing fit. Gianluca had tried his absolute hardest, I think, there to make that move work, and it just wasn't to be. With a minute and a half left, depending on where our race leader is, this might end up being the final lap. Not too sure. Where is he? I think it will be the final lap, yeah. Quite possibly. As Paul Stenner is just coming into the final sector now, a minute left. There may actually be one more. I'm not too sure, as we have also had reports of another DNF. That is the number 92 of Rafael Sanseverino, having retired from today's race. So him and Thomas Jack. I'll keep my ears to the ground to try and get you some more information on this. But can we just say, what a drive this has been for the drivers. There will indeed be one more lap. Stenner crosses the line. 20 seconds left and looking a bit further back. Petrillo already on the back of Daniel Scott again. I think this is the last lap. So I think for Gianluca, this will be a case of this happens now or this happens never. And Daniel Scott will be aware of this as well. He will be in the case of, right, I can see him in my mirrors. I need to defend as hard as I possibly can here. The gap between them roughly, I think, about 3/10 at corner entry. So now we'll see with the slipstream what will happen as we head towards turn 1 with these two drivers. Have a look here. Gianluca is just trying to get that car back to where it was. Had a bit of contact a couple laps ago at this corner. He's gonna, I think, not try to move there this time round. 4/10 between the two drivers. Will it be a case of do it now or do it never? As coming round the final corner to take the race win today, it is Paul Stenner across the line to take the victory as the number 7 Toyota. What a win there that was for him. That final pit stop, the absolute decider. And that will be Paul a very happy man this evening. Pierre Moreno just got beaten at the pit stop. Then a little bit of contact between himself and Gianluca, caused him to lose some more time to give the time back to Gianluca as well. As now down the inside goes Petrillo. Daniel Scott will try the cut back. It looks like it's going to work. He looks like he has the better power delivery here. As they get to speed, Daniel Scott, he's squeezing. And he gets a move down the inside. Gianluca now will dump as much energy as possible in a drag race. Gianluca coming into the pit lane. What's happened there for him? Daniel Scott will come across in P3. Race, that means Tobias Gesh, P5. And then your winner for the GT3 class. We've not really seen much from them today. We've been absolutely enthralled with the battle for P3 and hypercars, but going really take the victory in the GT3 class is Martin Kovacs. Oh dear, there's a bit of post-race bonking behind as well. What a race that was, and then finally coming across the line. Is indeed Thomas Eriksson. So here is your race results. Paul Stenner wins the hypercar class, followed by Pierre Moreno, Daniel Scott, Tobias Gesh, Norbert Klenk, Jose Flores, Gianluca Petrillo, and Adam Gadek. So Petrillo diving into the pit lane looks like he's got himself the P4. And then in the GT3, Martin Kovacs takes the race victory there, 30 laps. So only 3 laps down on the lead lap for the hypercars, followed by Robin Molling, Oliver Newman, Mark McNaughton, Adrian McNaughton, Tommy Teasdale, Vasilis Katarinakis, James Andrews, Thomas Eriksson, Fail Games, David Epitishvili, and the 2 cars that did not finish there were indeed Raffaele Sanseverino and Thomas Jack. So let us get the drivers in, shall we? For a bit of a chat about their race. So we'll just wait to see if they jump into the interview waiting room. Now, for those wondering, here are your mixed results. 3 laps down for for Martin Kovacs. I think from the look of it, yes, he actually lapped the entire GT3 field as well. So we will get the first driver in here and just make sure that this is all coming through as it should. Hello, Kovacs.
Hello.
That was a very interesting race from my perspective. It just looked like you started off in the lead, dropped down to P2, and then was just in the lead again. What happened?
A race strategy was just fuel saving. I didn't really think about Tom behind me. I knew he was going to be faster, and when I just saw him just take the 100% fastest racing lines, braking zones, I was thinking that he's not on the same strategy as me, so I just need to fuel save.
So one thing that a lot of people were talking about was the strategy. Everyone was saying it was a 2-stop race. Did you take 2 stops? What was your strategy today?
My strategy was just fuel saving, as I said. Didn't really practice fuel saving until just the race, so it was quite a luck-based thing to do. I think I just managed to get both of those +1 laps in both stints with the fuel saving. And it was just barely less than just a 1 stop. I had to take like 30% at the end, so yeah.
So one thing I did want to talk about, and I'm very happy I've got someone who I would call seasoned in RP series. We've obviously driven GT3s in earlier iterations. How are you finding the move to the new sim and your choice of the Corvette for the season?
Well, I wasn't going to drive the Corvette at all, since the balance in the game is not the best right now, especially in hypercars. That's what I was going to go with first. But I quickly realized that I'm not on pace with the hypercar guys, and I'm not feeling comfortable enough to do like sprint or endurance races yet. So I just switched to the GT3s, which are much more familiar. And the Corvette is a choice that I made after a lot of thinking, and I chose it because it is my favorite car yet, because the Lexus is not in the game yet. So yeah, that's why I chose it.
And you are aware that I believe, if my knowledge is correct, you had managed to lap the entire GT3 grid.
I don't know. Probably.
So that will move me on to the next question, which obviously, as you know, is one that I ask pretty much every time someone gets dragged in here to talk to me. What are your goals for the season? How do you think the rest of it's going to go?
Well, if I know correctly, the next race is going to be at Monza. I'm not expecting to win there because, as you already saw, the other cars, especially the Mustang, is really fast on the straight. So I'm probably going to be just looking at scraps there, but all the other tracks are pretty familiar with me, so I'm gonna try to go for the overall GT3 win.
Well, Kovacs, congratulations on your race win. Who knows, if Monza decides to play ball with you, you might actually be speaking to me again. Who knows?
Who knows, yeah.
I'll let you go, and I shall see you later on.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Go on. So, that was Martin Kovacs, the winner of the GT3 race. As you heard, he's very happy with the Corvette, going for the overall season win. That is something that I think he will very, very much want to contend with. We will just give a couple more moments to see if anyone else wants to join in and have a chat with me. If not, we shall. And just a reminder as well, this was the first points scoring race of the season. The next race will be joining us on the 4th of May for Monza. So 2 weeks from now on Sunday at 7 PM British Summer Time, 6 PM UTC. And then it will be another 2 weeks for Imola on the 18th of May. And then the final 2 rounds, Interlagos and Fuji, the 1st and the 8th of June, respectively. A 1 week gap between the two. So until next time, I have been Huski. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like the stream, subscribe to the channel, share it to your friends as well. I will be back with you in a fortnight's time for the next round. Until then, goodbye.